These things are real. Since I joined these men, I have seen shit that'll turn you white.
Out of the sea, wish I could be part of that world.
For their gracious aid.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. Well, this is the story that just won't die, or maybe it's the story that it's the hill that people are willing to die on. I don't know, but without further ado, let's get into the tale. Halle Bailey turns white in Little Mermaid remake video altered by AI. And yes, you got that right. So basically an AI generated video on the internet has transformed Halle Bailey into a white woman for The Little Mermaid. And I wouldn't say they transformed her. What they did was basically just replace her. So yeah, here is the sort of offending video in question. And I do say offending because a lot of people on part of Twitter, on the woke part of Twitter, are absolutely losing their minds over this. But you can see that this person basically just used some AI to do some substitution of one person for another. Now, nobody's saying that this is like high quality or high res or great looking. It's more of a proof of concept than anything else, but whatever, right? There's definitely, this part looks pretty good, actually, right in here. And then it gets a little wonky towards the end here. Her eyes kind of start doing little weird things at the end, and you know, right in this area, her eyes kind of get little weird. You know, doing that little weird thing like right there. In any case, this video absolutely released the copium on Twitter. So whoever decided to let AI create entertainment knew that it would cause massive issues. Well, someone decided to allow artificial intelligence to transform Halle Bailey into a white woman for the Little Mermaid live action remake. You can see the AI generated video above that we just saw. The film has been surrounded by controversy as people oddly take issue with Ariel not being white. And this phrase here just really jumps out at you. People oddly take issue with Ariel not being white. Well, people are taking issue with Ariel not being portrayed the way that she's been portrayed for the last 33 years based on the Little Mermaid film alone, which is now considered a classic, but also for 185 years since the publication of The Little Mermaid, where she was described as, you know, they were 6 beautiful children, but the youngest was the prettiest of them all. Her skin was clear and delicate, and her eyes as blue as the deepest sea. So when people get something else instead, then they are going to be like, hey, what is up with this? Why are you doing this? And then when they start to question, why are you doing this? That's when it gets interesting, because then we know, well, it's probably going to be something about injecting the narrative. And indeed, that does seem to be what it's about. We've already got this story, so they're already laying the foundation. New Little Mermaid and Snow White stars say their modern characters won't be defined by needing a man's love. Basically, they're saying, hey, we're going to change the fundamentals of the story. We're going to change the core of the story. But what's interesting is if you go to The Little Mermaid, you can see right here, published in 1837. So it's 185 years that this thing has been out. The basics of the story are, you know, each of the sisters gets to go up to the surface and see men and see their towns and things like that on their 16th birthday, I believe. And on that day, they go up, they view, and then they come back down and tell their stories to their little sisters. And of course, Ariel, or the 6th sister, is the youngest, the Little Mermaid. And she has to wait 6 years because all her sisters and her are 1 year apart. So she has to wait all those years until she can go up herself. And when she finally goes up, she sees the prince. She saves the prince. She falls in love with the prince. And she wants to actually get him to love her, because if she dies as a Little Mermaid, she just turns into sea foam. But if a human loves her, then when she dies, she actually gains a soul and she could be reborn or go to heaven or whatever. That's the gist of the actual original story. Of course, the left and the woke Twitter side is just losing their mind. So you prefer the CGI uncanny valley. I prefer the woman with talent. Nobody's making that argument here. Nobody's saying, yeah, look at the poor CGI one is so clearly better. No, it's a proof of concept. And I actually think that Halle Bailey is, yes, quite talented. She's killing that song. So the response, of course, was, nah, it's a mermaid, though. It's a creature of myth and fairy tale. And this is a perfect response because this is what has been thrown in the face of everyone who has been sharing their objections to changing out or swapping Ariel. And, you know, at the end of the day, the left would, or woke Twitter would just say, well, it doesn't matter what race she is. It doesn't matter because it's a mythical creature, a creature of fairy tale. They don't really exist. So it doesn't matter whether they're black or they're white or what color they are. Well, if that's true, then why is the woke side of Twitter now losing their mind now that someone has swapped Ariel back to the view that we expect? So this is, you know, the idea, the vision that people have had in their head for the last 33 years. And of course, Disney put it there. Now, I'm not saying Disney can't change their mind about what the Little Mermaid looks like, but they're basically taking a classic fairy tale and now they're taking a classic film and they're remaking it and they're changing something. And yeah, people are going to have objections because look, the new mermaid, the new Little Mermaid doesn't have blue eyes. She doesn't have this clear, delicate skin and blue eyes as described in the fairy tale. But whatever, right? It doesn't matter because she's a myth. So if it doesn't matter and she's a myth, then why does it matter that someone swapped her back to this image versus the new Halle Bailey character? And you know, this is the implication. This is the result. Like the original person who posted this 8-second clip to Twitter, his account has now been suspended by Twitter, and the original account, the original creator of this, which is 10 gazillion IQ, who created this in the first place, their account has also been temporarily suspended. And, you know, there's a massive amount of cope going on Twitter, stuff like this. Oh, so you want to play this game because you did this and you did it for educational purposes. I disagree. This is racism and bigotry, point blank period. You need to scrap this project. So here's a person who is absolutely all worked up because someone portrayed the Little Mermaid as a white girl with red hair, as she has been portrayed for the last 33 years, versus this, which is how she's been portrayed for the last 3 days. And one side's getting absolutely triggered and losing their shit over this. I mean, if you're going to make the argument that there's nothing wrong with doing this because they don't exist, they're mythical creatures, then how do you make the argument that this is wrong and that this is racist? That's the issue that I have here. So I guess I just have to ask, what is inherently, racist about this image right here? What is inherently racist about the original and the classical Disney Little Mermaid story? Because that's the argument here. The argument is that race swapping Ariel from this to this is not racist, but race swapping Ariel from this back to something that looks like this, being what people have expected to see, what people have seen for the last 33 years, that is somehow racist. Plus, this is a little bit closer to the description that we see in the book, right? We see the Little Mermaid described as, you know, again, with the clear and delicate skin and eyes as blue as the sea. You know, the one side saying, no, it doesn't matter. You shouldn't get angry. It doesn't matter. And then they get angry, even though it doesn't matter. That's just the normal amount of hypocrisy that we see from people like this. The trailer now sitting at 628,000 upvotes to 1.7 million downvotes. So there have been a surge of upvotes on this trailer now that the mainstream media has picked up this story. But the downvotes continue to outpace this surge in the upvotes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about one side being able to get upset over this and saying it doesn't matter what race she is because, you know, it's a mermaid, she doesn't really exist? And then the other side, okay, well, we're going to swap her back, or someone does swap her back. And then that side who just said it doesn't matter what race she is, it doesn't matter, you know, that she is being swapped. Well, then they get mad that she gets swapped back. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. In the meantime, if you want to continue to smash the narrative, smash the like, subscribe, and share buttons, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.